Bradley, Chief Data Officer with GreatAmerica Financial. 5-year tenure with GreatAmerica. I was brought in to stand up their data analytics capabilities, and then that role expanded to Chief Data Officer and own data from point of creation to point of conclusion about a year ago. My passion is around using data to change business outcomes. My background is largely in the B2C website marketing arena. I was leader of the data analytics for GoDaddy and Tax Act, and even taught in this space for a couple of years before joining GreatAmerica. If there is one thing I could bring back, sounds odd in the middle of the desert, but it would be snow days.
Thank you. Gary?
Hi everybody, I'm Gary with CEO Juice. I started selling copiers for Xerox in 1983, so I've been around a while. I sold my second dealership to Kyocera in 2008 and started CEO Juice. So in my first dealership, we just grew too quick, everything was out of control. So in the second one, I started putting tools in place that people liked, and that's what CEO Juice came from. And so what we do is AI. So you guys may know of it as automation, but it's essentially AI. And I love technology. I couldn't think of anything that I want back. My car drove me here by itself.
Brad?
I'm Keven Ellison. I'm the Vice President of Marketing at AIS. We're about a $30 million dealership out of Las Vegas, Nevada. I've been marketing technology companies for quite a long time. In fact, when I started in marketing, we didn't have a cell phone and we didn't have the internet. And so this is such a great time period right now. And maybe I should be retired by now, but I don't see any time soon that I'll be retiring because I really have a thirst for learning. And this is really a major time right now with what's coming on with artificial intelligence and what AI is going to bring to all of us, and not only from a consumer point of view, but from a business point of view, especially. I'm sort of like Gary. I love technology and everything I do. I think I've hacked just about everything in my house to make it better. Not my kids or my family members, of course, but I think I just love to have technology to make it useful to what I want and what I need. So this is a great topic, and I'm really going to enjoy what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, thank you. First question that we asked, how many of you have adapted AI and using it in your organization daily? What % of the time? So it looks like I can't read how many people responded to that, but the majority are less than 25%. We do have one that is at greater than 90%, or I don't know how many are in that bottom bar, but interesting. Is how many people in the room, just by show of hands, since I can't read, are using AI in some form? Okay, very good, very good. All right. Let's talk about how it's transforming our organization's approach to business practices or go-to-market strategy. Let's start with you.
Yeah, let's talk about terminology, because really everybody's using AI and have been for decades, but it used to be automated processes, and the buzzword is now deep learning and AI and that type of stuff. But if you're selling scanning solutions, that's AI essentially, right? If you are automating your sales or your marketing, if you're using CEO Juice, you have AI in place.
Cindy?
So at GreatAmerica, a couple of things. One is, first we're laying foundational things for deployment of generative AI, largely involving digital transformation, so getting modernization of all our platforms. The second, where we're deploying AI, is largely in the frontier of productivity. So how can we use, whether it's traditional AI and predictive modeling or it's generative AI, how can we use that to improve our productivity as a team which then translates to improved customer service for those of you who are Great America's customers. So things that we are doing such as email to application, text to application. We're looking at call recordings in our account support area and how did that translate into customer satisfaction scores or classification of what the call was about so we can try to focus on areas of improvement.
Thanks, Cindy. I would say that I have a little bit of different opinion than Gary has. Of course, there's been automation, it's been around for a long time, but generative AI is a lot different. We're using it for everything from brainstorming to strategic planning to asset creation to deliverables for our customers. But we're immersing ourselves in it right now. Now, we're going to apply automation on top of that in the future because we've now found that we can use AI tools, and then by putting automation on top of it, you can do a lot more things and a lot more, be more productive with it. I was at a marketing AI conference in September of last year, and I met a couple of people from an ad agency. There were 4 people in this ad agency. They were doing $79 million in revenue, doing work for NASA, doing work for Best Buy, doing work for Forbes, and they're doing this work for global brands, just 4 of them, and that's all they were doing. And it's amazing to see how much productivity you can get out of your staff, and also if we just immerse ourselves in it. But that's what we need to do to start.
We go back a minute, Jenny. One thing we want to make clear is AI's been around for a very long time. The difference now and what's changing the trajectory is the release of what we're calling generative AI. And the main difference here is traditional AI would help you with your decision making and give you a prediction. Generative AI, the big change is it's now developing new content. So it's not only helping the humans, but it's actually creating new content, new ways of doing things. So that's where the change is happening and the trajectory is happening that is got us all abuzz and basically an arms race around AI.
When you think about implementing or using AI to drive efficiencies or more production, do you have examples of what that looks like?
Gosh, lots of examples. So we have customers that we're providing marketing as a service, much like Impact does. We're just starting out doing it. But we've been able to not only create all the assets from not only the marketing plans, but also the actual deliverables, whether it's website content, or it's imagery, or it's actually videos. And then there's also other things on top of that where you can provide now artificial intelligent chatbots that, like Cindy was talking about, that this generative AI is actually allowing to learn not only from what we can provide to it, but it can also read the information that we have on our websites. Or if you're using something like Copilot for Microsoft, where they're using ChatGPT and they put it inside, it can actually read all of your OneNotes you've had for the last 10 years that you've been using. Or it can actually go in and look at all of your emails. It can look at all that information and gain all of that knowledge, so it can help you with business decisions.
Great America, the most recent thing that we're using it for is to improve the productivity of our software engineers. We're in the midst of transforming a platform that's been around probably since the start of Great America, written in Unibasic. And we're now converting all that code to SQL languages. We have seen a 70% improvement in the turnaround time by putting that code, all very common, nothing proprietary to Great America, into Copilot, and it is now translating that from Unibasic code into SQL for us. That would have taken us weeks and weeks of software engineering time that we are now using a generative AI tool to do.
Let's chat a bit about the rate of change. Who in here, show of hands, who knows what AGI is? Artificial General Intelligence. If you think about it, ChatGPT just happened in the last year. So AI's been around a long time, but the evolution is speeding up and speeding up. And I really think this industry needs to be paying attention, not just to AGI, but you know, how this channel might be reselling them. So if anybody here at CES last week, anyone listened to the NVIDIA CEO Jensen's keynote? So in that keynote, NVIDIA are the most likely people to have the chip that AGI is built on. And in that keynote, Jensen talks about how that technology will get sold to the end user. And he's talking about IT resellers. And 7 of the 10 largest IT resellers on the planet are dealers in the USA. So 7 of the 10 largest ConnectWise dealers are you guys. So you are uniquely positioned to sell this technology, but it's evolving fast.
Survey question, how would you describe your approach to adopting AI-driven tools? It looks like the majority are actively investing in AI to stay ahead of the competitors. Next was cautiously exploring AI options. The third most popular was waiting to see how others in the industry use AI. And then the last, we haven't thought about AI adoption yet. Again, it's impressive to see the number of individuals that, or organizations that are implementing it. As I'm out there talking to our customers, I'm asking this question a lot, and it doesn't appear, and again, when you're having the conversation, I think some individuals maybe don't know what's going on in the organization at a deeper level around AI. But, all right, let's talk about, so when you think about that, there are still a lot of organizations that are lagging behind, right, and how they think about it, what they're going to do with it. Let's talk about why we think that is.
A few things that come to mind for me is one, lack of understanding of what is AI, right? It's a 2-letter, all vowels acronym. What is it though in reality? Second is probably lack of intentional dedication of resources to this effort. I think we heard Impact Networking has created a chief AI officer. I applaud that initiative. This is going to be a true, it's not an exaggeration, it's going to be a game-changing frontier for everyone. I think another challenge that I would caution folks about is as you are partnering with vendors, identify what's real and not real when it comes to AI. There's a lot of marketing hype around I have AI technology embedded in my products. Dig a little deeper, get your technology folks to dig a little deeper, what's really true there from an AI perspective. And then fourth is just governance. Understanding how are you going to guard against your proprietary information? How are you going to ensure that your AI releases are not creating an unfavorable either team member or customer experience? So a lot of those things are kind of holding folks back from really taking action in the AI space.
How do you keep the chatbot from going rogue? I read an interesting article the other day on that, right? We'll get that. Keven.
Yeah. So we use it in such a variety of ways in our business because we're really just immersing ourselves in it, right? Because in order to learn something, and something that we're really at an infant stage right now with AI. So even though we see some of the survey results of you not getting really on board yet with it, I saw that with my team. I started working with AI, ChatGPT, for instance, 2 years ago. It was released late November of 2022. I started using it in 2023, in the beginning of it. But in order to do that, I saw a number of things from first my staff revolting and saying, it's gonna take my job, right? So, and they really didn't want to start using it, but I kept pushing and said, you know what, you gotta learn this, okay? I was reading everything and it's gonna be bigger than the internet. I know what it was like when there was no internet. I know when there was no cell phone when we were trying to do business. And what those tools were when we had it. So, just like you were talking about a chief AI officer at a company, I've sort of taken on my role at AIS as being the ambassador for AI. because I think it's so important, and it also started in marketing. It was such an important piece of marketing and we're really pushing to what it can do. But we've done other things within the organization too. We've created strategic initiatives like an AI first contest. We've reached out to our managers and said, hey, we'd like you to start using AI and share how everybody's using it in the company, and then build a contest to see who can come up with the greatest business practice or business use case that it can be done. I've heard of other companies doing this, and they actually have given out prizes up to like $5,000 for something that they found that saved them probably $20, $30, or $40,000 in business practices just because they found an easier way to do this using AI. We use it for, like Cindy was talking about, checking your vendors. I mean, there's thousands of applications that are coming onto the marketplace right now, and a lot of them are just taking the what are called the large language models like ChatGPT and Claude and Meta and even Google's Gemini, and they're putting products on top of it and saying this is an AI tool. You have to be really careful to see what it is that they're doing. I've taken the practice, and I think everyone here up on stage here, as really looking at what those large language models are first, getting to know what they are, and then looking at other applications to do it. But I'll tell you right now, there's a number of companies that we work with, and our vendors like Salesforce and our vendors like HubSpot. They're integrating AI so quickly that it's now being very easy for us to use those as productivity tools, and they're really leading the space on how generative AI can help us do our own business.
Keven was sharing with me what Gary, the owner of the company, they went through a process. I don't know that you call it a process, but whenever somebody would come up and ask Gary a question, he would say, I don't know, what did AI say? So
Right.
that was a way of trying to encourage people to use it on a daily basis. Survey says, what is the biggest barrier to preventing you from adopting AI today? Lack of knowledge is the top one. Concerns about cost or ROI. Resistance to change within organizations, and then lowest uncertainty about where to start. Gary, what's your perspective on this? You've been helping companies automate for...
Yeah, and I think if you think about it as implementing automation more than implementing AI, right? So you can't really scale a business unless you automate it. And so going back to Gary at AIS, one of his measures that he had us build a dashboard around was how much am I automating? And so that means how much do my team no longer have to do? And so, you know, there are some parts of the industry that are really easy to automate. We're seeing a lot happening with automatic toner replenishment, where the device says it needs a toner and it gets automatically shipped. That's AI, right? That's automation. So just look at what parts of your business can you automate, and then it has to come from the top. So our most engaged clients and those would be the ones who have the most automation are the guys where the person at the top is involved and is meeting with us regularly. So
Yes.
But what you're saying is the auto toner replenishment's been around for 50 years. I wouldn't really call that AI. It's more of like just automation. What is truly AI happening? Well, I think the word is used a little too freely in the fact that like it's AI, it's machine learning, it's automation. So where do you see like true AI, like having the software, whatever, on whatever system, platform, you know, and truly coming out with something that you can't see, or really augmenting it, because the auto toner replenishment, the automation, that's been around for a while, and people are like putting that as AI. I feel like AI is something I shouldn't be able to see or do, and it's augmenting it. So where do you see that really happening?
So artificial general intelligence is when we invent a computer smarter than us. in theory, when that happens, that will be the last thing we need to invent. And an AGI will be the biggest change in the history of civilization. It is huge. Forget the Industrial Revolution. AGI is huge. And we should plan that it's going to happen this year. It is coming that quickly. And that is where you will have API to API, machine to machine. We're all sitting back drinking cocktails because the machines are doing the work. But it's coming really quickly.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? When you think about AI continuing to drive improvement to our processes and efficiencies, how do people overcome the fear of losing their jobs, or that they could, right? I mean, when Keven and I were talking, he was telling me that someday they're not gonna have salespeople. It's all gonna be generated, bots.
So that's sort of the road or the pushback I got from my team when I first pushed them to doing this, and they said, you know, my content manager was saying, hey, I can write better than any kind of machine can. My video person, I had a bet for $1 that I said, hey, in 2 years or less from now, you're gonna be directing how AI is going to be creating video for you. You're not gonna be doing this. He said, there's no way. Then they all came back to me and said, hey, it looks like AI is getting pretty strong. Is it gonna take my job? And they had a fear for this, right? And I said, no, the person that's gonna take your job is the person that knows how to use AI, okay? It's just a tool, but we need to immerse ourselves in it. So that's the most important thing that we all have to do, is just start using it. Now, when we're talking about businesses like all of yours, I would say, if you're not thinking about this today, you should be, and that is, if you're not learning about AI, your competitor is. And that's something you really should be thinking about, because it is gonna make their business much more efficient, and the way that they actually can interact with customers, or can work and pivot, or change their model, or even how they approach people much faster than you do. And what I was explaining to Jennie is that we're actually creating tools now, avatars, not only that can speak, or not only that actually can be shown up on screens, but that can actually lead you through. And it's not very far off that we're going to have on our website somebody that's going to actually be talking to us. And they're going to just lead us through and answer everything that we need to do, any question we could ask, whether it's a personal question or it's a question about your products and services, but it's going to lead them through the buying process. Now, it may be a while before it overtakes a salesperson's ability to be able to close that person, but I'll tell you, they are getting really good. In fact, we're testing right now an AI outbound caller, and up against our outbound salespeople that are calling our inside sales team, because think about this, AI, if it gets shot down, or a person that gets shot down over and over from calls that are doing, or they can't connect, or they get rejection, it takes them a couple calls to get that confidence back up. AI never has that problem. AI is always cheerful, AI is always thinking, you can always load in any type of sales practice or business model, and it immediately knows how to start using that, and it can overcome every objection that you could possibly think of much easier than it's actually a human being can recall that. There's a question out there, I know.
I probably don't need the mic. Quick question.
No, you don't.
If you're looking at AI in an appointment setting, how many of the C-level executives are willing to engage in 2025, do you find, in that kind of conversation, that blue sort of conversation, which is not a sales executive who's done research on the customer, their industry, how they use the solutions, etc.?
So, that's a great question. Every time you have new technology that hits the market, people are going to reject it, okay? But this is coming, and this is coming in such a quick and a strong wave that's coming across it, we're gonna have to get used to it as a consumer or as a decision maker. So it's the same way, but as a business, we have to position ourselves and we have to be really transparent about, hey, we're a technology company and we've got this great new technology and we'd love for you to be introduced to it. And so we have to do this in order to let them know that they are actually talking to AI. But I'll tell you, the AI bots that we're actually talking to and we're teaching and having them learn about our products and services and how to sell, we're actually getting them to put in and ah and putting in those spaces that where they may not pause when they're listening to you. All of those things can be added into the AI experience, and I'm telling you, it's getting better and better and better every day.
What happens when the customers start using AI bots on their own to talk to your AI bot?
Well, that's a great question.
To prevent you from getting to them.
That's a great, the question was, what happens when customers start using it? That's not very far off. In fact, what's called agents are coming very soon, and they're starting to come out right now. So today, we have to go out and research for a family vacation, right? So we got to go out and we have to put in what we want a family vacation, how much we're gonna spend, we go to all these websites, we figure out where we're gonna go and do this. Agents of the future, which are now just coming out right now, you're gonna be able to tell that, hey, I'm a family of 4, this is what we like to do, this is the best vacation we've ever had and we like to do, these are the things we like to do, this is how much we wanna spend, and this is the places we wanna go. The agents are now going to go out to all the websites, going to actually find and research and do all of this for you. So really, if you're looking at it, it's a really great point. About probably 2 or 3 years from now, 50% of the traffic on our websites are going to be agents. They're not going to be the decision makers that you're thinking, because the agents are going to go out and find them. And the agents are also going to be able to negotiate for you as well. So they could come back with a price or even make that price in the future. They'll be able to actually make that purchase for you. This is where it's all going. I mean, regardless of what we're thinking everywhere it is, it's moving straight ahead.
And happening much quicker than you can imagine.
Yeah.
And we all know paper's going away, right? And most forward-looking dealers have got into managed IT. And part of managed IT is selling stuff like Office 365. And Microsoft is possibly going to get to AGI first. And that will just be a service that somebody will be reselling. And it will be like saying, hey, this is the smartest person on the planet packaged up here. You want to hire this person to make a company more efficient, and you guys will have the opportunity to resell that type of service. And today, it's the bots that Kevin's talked about, but really quickly, that's going to change. If you think about ChatGPT, a year ago, we weren't talking about it. It wasn't a thing. Next year, who knows what we're going to be talking about.
What happens if people fail to adapt?
So
Continue to evolve?
So for dealers who don't get into managed IT, you're going to sell. There'll be no other choice. And then for dealers who get into managed IT but don't take that next step, you just get beaten by the guys that do. You know, this is hugely powerful technology. If you don't use it, you'll get left behind, and then you'll just have to sell.
Just to add on to what Gary was saying, so today at AIS, we're actually putting in our recruiting process, or when we're talking in the interview process of any new candidate, we're asking them if they're using AI and how they're using it today. Because that's going to be really important as we bring on new employees. We don't want employees that have no experience or have not had any interaction with AI. Maybe we're going to find a few that are going to say, oh, I've just done a little bit with it, or this and that, but we may find those stars that are actually actively using it on a regular basis, and that's who we're looking for.
If organizations are not using it, what advice do you have for where should they start? How should they approach this?
For me, it starts with an ideation workshop. Sit down with your group and jot out or spell out places where you are having recurring tasks, right? Where can you improve some of those efficiencies? make a hypothesis then about those areas to say, if I were to deploy AI, what would be true? Then go out and test it. Partner with vendors. See if that hypothesis holds true. And more importantly, immerse yourselves as individuals in this technology. Use ChatGPT, or whether you're on Gemini, either one of those, any of those technologies, try it out. Get your senior leaders educated on AI. Put out a campaign to educate your teams on AI. Begin to think about a readiness assessment that might include governance around AI. Do you have, as Keven was saying, do you have the right talent in place to even begin such a journey to talk about AI? There's really some criteria to assess or do a readiness assessment, but it begins with business value and your hypothesis of where AI could improve your business, whether that's changing your business model or improving your operational efficiency.
What challenges can people expect, or organizations expect, as they're implementing AI? What challenges have you out there experienced?
I know for me it's pace. Just keeping up with the pace of change here is a dedicated effort in this space, particularly from a data standpoint. The other challenge that GreatAmerica faces as a regulated industry is it has to be explainable. And much of these AI models are using the neural networks that are black boxes. They're not explainable to a regulatory agency. So that's some of the hurdles that we're going to face as we deploy some of this technology.
I think, Jennie, the fear of people losing their jobs is still, like, we put it out over a year ago, and probably people were so fearful of losing their job. It was the biggest issue that we had. But now I will tell you that people have embraced it so much that we do monthly meetings. It's the easiest monthly meeting we ever have, because people are sharing best practices of how they're using it and how it's improving. And as the leader, I had to go up and say, we're going to implement it, but we're not going to fire anyone. All we're looking to do is reduce workloads and maybe take some of that free spot and put it in areas that are new development for us without going out and having to hire someone. So it was win for me as the leader, not having to go out and hire people, and for them to make their job easier, believe it or not, right? Less time research and more things that they enjoy doing. So it really helped the productivity, and the cost savings for the organization is tremendous.
That's a great point, and I think to actually get your organization around it, you need to have that open dialogue, that collaboration. You also need to teach them how to use AI, because I have gone to my team and said, you know, why aren't you using AI? And they said, I've gotten really bad results out of it, or it's really poor results. And it's sort of garbage in, garbage out. I've known how to, what's called prompting, but I learned that early on. And basically I just teach them 4 steps. Tell it to be an expert. Any model that you're using, tell it to be an expert. Then give it context. Give it context like it's an employee that you're onboarding, okay? Give it enough context to tell it about it. Then ask it for its task. And the last thing that you ask it in order for it to be a really good prompt is say, ask me any clarifying questions in order for you, the model, to provide 90% accuracy or 95% accuracy in finishing that result. If you do those types of things, or you do those 4 steps, you will get great responses back, or you're going to get a load of questions back like, well, who's this going to involve? What type of results do you want it to see? What format do you want it in? It's going to ask you all those questions, but then you're going to learn how to write and learn how the next time that you interact with it. There's another thing that I do and I have about 4 or 5 people that I follow on social media that are experts in AI. And what I do every morning when I wake up at about 4:30 in the morning, I go and see what they posted the day before, because I'm not only learning what they're telling everyone else on what to do with AI, I'm actually thinking about it. And this is something that we probably need to get our staff thinking about, and that is we need for them to learn what other people and how they are using it, but then apply it to how we would want to use it. There's a lot of things you can do by reverse engineering what somebody else has done and having AI reverse engineer it. I mean, I've been using it for a while now, and a couple of years now, and I ran into a problem the other day, and it wasn't giving me good results back. So all I did is ask the question, why am I not getting good results back? What am I not telling you? And it came back and told me what format I needed to put it in. So those are the types of things you need to do in order to get your staff to be, to learn and more, embrace it more.
Do you do any kind of formal training of how to ask the questions?
How to ask questions? Yeah. So I give them those steps. Actually, I've taken the 4 basic steps. After they've learned that, I've given them 8 steps now on how to use it more effectively. But you need to do that type of training in the beginning. Like when I first put out the AI First contest and I gave prizes out to our managers and our staff on how they were using it, I said, if you have any questions, always ask me and I'll be able to help you. So a lot of them were just putting things in and said, oh, I didn't get a good result back. I said, show me what you did. And then I would teach them and show them, hey, put it in this format. And then they got great results coming back and they go, wow, this is really cool. I mean, today, in my world, I drive to work on full self-driving mode in my Tesla. And it's not, if you don't like Tesla, that's fine, okay? But I do that because I have solar on my house too. It's not a green car, but I have solar at my house, so it's free electricity. So I got free gas for my car. But when I'm driving to work, I have conversations with ChatGPT. I ask it about questions that I want to learn about, or a model that I'm working on, or a strategy that I'm working on. But that's where we need to be in order to gain more knowledge of what we're doing and interacting with these AI models. Sorry to take up so much time.
No, that's good, that's good.
I just love this stuff. I geek out about it.
So, Impact offers AI consulting. Do you think that's something you're going to be doing?
Absolutely,
I mean,
yeah.
think about diversifying revenue, right?
Well,
It's
think about this, and it's really what Frank was talking about. We have a bunch of customers, okay? Our company has 2,600 customers in Las Vegas and Southern California. And I was talking with the CEO. First thing he says, what's the marketing team going to look like in the future with AI? And I said, it's going to change, but it's not going to change like we're talking about. We're not letting people go. We're learning how to do more, okay? Then we talked about, okay, and I'm right now in the process of figuring out what those services, what more we can provide. But one of the things he said is, why don't we start teaching our customers? Because if our company has such a hard time learning AI, what about all of our customers right now? We can actually build more trust with our customers right now by teaching them how to use AI in their businesses. So that's what we're going to be doing, is we're going to be consulting to our businesses in order to build stronger relationships when it comes to technology, because that's what we are. Everybody in this room, we're selling technology. We're not a copier and printer company any longer. We're selling technology.
We're almost out of time. Does anybody have any questions? We had a question back here.
Yeah, just a few moments ago you mentioned you had 3 or 4 social follows that inform you. What are those, and what are the resources would the panelists recommend that we continue to learn from?
Good question. I'll be glad to give you a list, or maybe as a follow-up, maybe they can post them out, but I follow Jonathan Mast, M-A-S-T. I follow Ask ChatGPT, she's from Stanford. And then I also follow, I think her last name's Solomon. And so those are probably the 3 that I follow in social media. But I'll be glad to provide those to you. I can bring my laptop or my phone and show you. But they put it in real words and a real sort of dumb it down for most people on how to learn. But I follow them on a regular basis because they're constantly teaching me things about how I probably never even thought I could be using AI for. Like today, you can take a picture of all the ingredients in your fridge and you can say, what can I make for dinner tonight? And it'll tell you based on the picture that you take on your phone. How many people have done that in this room? Okay, maybe 1, 2, 3 people, but you can do things like that because those are things that AI can do for you that we never even thought of. But now think about maybe things about what we're doing in processes or how our service techs are working or whatever that is. applying this type of technology to further our businesses is where it's gonna happen. And so things like just a little thing looking at your fridge and what you've got there, or maybe what they're doing on how they're trying to fix something. This is where it's all going.
I follow, there's a generative AI group on LinkedIn I would highly recommend. One of the most recent posts that they had out there was 2025 will be the year when AI changes from playing to purpose. So
I really think this group needs to come together, because this is happening so fast that we, you know, any one company is going to struggle to stay ahead. So actually, we've been talking to GreatAmerica about how can we put together a group of people to help you guys resell AI and then AGI when it comes out. Who would be interested in that? If you're not reselling AI, you're going to be out of business, in my opinion.
Okay, we are just about out of time, so we'd like to, another, real quick.
Yeah, hi. So, you know, we've talked about a lot of good things that AI brings to us, makes us more efficient, able to do more with less. So my question there, should we have any level of fear that AI could come through the back door and kind of cannibalize print to a greater degree than it is now? And is there any fear of that, or is that just kind of, you know, not trying to scare people, but, you know, I mean, is that something we could be concerned about?
Obviously, you should be concerned about that, but listen, you're gonna be putting this back to the manufacturers, right? Because, I mean, I heard today, or I heard over the weekend that the hackers are now using, and the phishing scams and everything that they're doing is you should now have a secret word with your family that you can use to make sure that you're talking about stuff that only your family does. So have a secret word that you can use, because they're now using voices of your family members because they found them or they've talked to them online on a phone call, and now they're using that as a way to talk your family out of money or taking on other things. So just like you're talking about maybe a fear of that, yes, but that's really going to rely back. We need to protect ourselves and our business, absolutely. So we should have, like Cindy talked about, we should make sure that we're putting the secure things in our place for our businesses, but we should also rely on our vendors and our manufacturers to be putting the security and keeping things that are private to our company as well when it comes to using any of these tools.
I think we need to go into this eyes wide open. Just as we have good intentions to use AI for good things in our businesses, the dark side has just as many intentions to bring the bad, right? So in our area, I'm really concerned about AI and the fraud detection in that space, because it's gonna be hard, really hard. So we're gonna have to build bots to battle their bots.
And don't focus on losing print. Forget print. Focus on the opportunity. There's a huge opportunity out there, and this industry is teed up to own that business. Huge opportunity.
Very good. Thank you. I'd like to thank my panelists. We wanted to get to a demonstration of video creation that